Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Tobin Shuka, and my day job is at Ripon College, directing bands and teaching music education. And I am absolutely thrilled to have been invited out to work with all of these fine young people all day today and culminating in our concert for you tonight. Our first piece was Flourish for Wind Band by Ray Vaughan Williams, an English composer. Interesting fact about this is that he wrote that for the opening of a new theater, and they performed it. And the piece subsequently went missing for decades. I believe it was about 40 years before it was rediscovered, and then instantly became a big part of the band repertoire. It's not quite as popular these days as it was when it first was discovered and brought back out. But one of the really cool things about it is that in such a compact package, there's so much great things to teach. And I think we learned a lot about it today as we went along. Our next piece is entitled Spoon River, and it's by Percy Grainger. Excuse me. Interesting fact about that piece. So Spoon River is also, Spoon River Anthology is the name of a play by an American playwright. It seems a little bit strange, but it's set in a graveyard, and the characters stand up behind the gravestones and then talk about their lives, ranging from the early pioneers to the early, late 19th century settlers or occupants of Spoon River, Illinois. And apparently Grainger was quite taken with this because he dedicated the piece to the author of the play. And the tempo marking is with sturdy pioneer persistence. So he clearly was thinking about those pioneers. And so when you listen to it, you'll hear moments of triumph, moments of tragedy, moments of tribulation, and most of all, you'll hear, if you're familiar with the composer, you'll hear Percy Grainger. It's clearly one of his pieces in his style. All right, one of the things I told the students today was that I'm going to gab just long enough, I hope, for them to get the percussion set. It sounds like they're all ready to go, so I've done my job, and I present to you, or we present to you, Percy Grainger's Spoon River. Our next piece is by David Holsinger, and it's entitled On a Hymn Song of Philip Bliss. Philip Bliss wrote the music for the hymn song, which the hymn song, if you're familiar with it, is It Is Well With My Soul. But the lyrics, the words to the song, came from another gentleman, and of course I didn't bring my notes out here, so I'm missing that. But it was a businessman from the United States. His family was going to Europe, and at the last minute, business, complication made him stay home. So his wife and 3 daughters got on the ship. His wife cabled from the shore of England, saved alone. All 3 of their daughters drowned when their ship went down. Sorry, I have kids too. The businessman then got on another ship to go and meet his grieving wife. And as they passed over the spot in the ocean where he was told the other ship went down, he looked at the waves and he wrote out the words to It Is Well With My Soul. And then, obviously, Philip Bliss wrote the hymn song, and then David Holsinger arranged it for a band. So hopefully you can hear some of the emotions that went through that. And this is David Holsinger's On a Hymn Song of Philip Bliss. All right, so if you were sitting there going, wow, this concert's going to be over in no time flat, this is the piece that changes that all up. So our next piece is entitled Courtly Airs and Dances. It's a 6-movement piece by Ron Nelson. Ron Nelson is a relatively contemporary American composer. He passed away, I want to say, about 10 years ago. And he wrote this piece as kind of an homage to Renaissance composer Claude Gervais. And what the piece consists of is 6 movements. The first is called Entrada. That's basically kind of like just a fanfare to enter into. And it will be, you'll hear those same things again in the 6th movement. Second movement is from, okay, now I gotta look at France, the Bastons from France. Yes, a slow, stately dance. I told the students too that one of the things about Renaissance and Baroque dance suites is that there's a whole lot of slow dances. And honestly, this is really the reason why, I don't know if they believe me or not, but this is the truth. One of the reasons why they had so many slow dances in the court is because people wore like 50 pounds of clothes and wigs, and they didn't like to bathe, so they didn't want to sweat. So they had slow, stately dances. So we have the Bastons from France, and then we have a Pavane from England, and then we have Saltarello from Italy, which is breaks the mold of the slow songs. That's a much more up-tempo tune. And then a beautiful piece from Spain, which I always think of as a lullaby, but the actual title is Saraband, right, Saraband from Spain. And then we close with an Alemán from Germany, which echoes the opening themes for the Entrada. So there will be a lot of movements, and also I will have to sit and it'll be kind of a little bit of a pause between movements because you see how much the percussionists have to move to reset. during this piece, they have to reset between movements, and I don't have the option to come out here and start, like, because I do have the option to come out here and start talking to you, but that would really ruin it, because you don't want to hear me. So without further ado, this is Court of the Airs and Dances, all 6 movements. Before we do our last piece, I want to say several great big thank yous. First, to the Flyway Conference Honors Band Directors for asking me to be here today, especially for Ms. Leitery, I keep saying it wrong, Leitery, for extending the invitation and hosting today. It's been very nice to be here in this facility. I want to thank all the students. I'll come back to you in a second too. I want to thank all the parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, whoever out there helps to make sure that these fine young people get the support they need to continue learning about music in their school music programs. Of course I'm biased, but I think that there's not much out there that does better to prepare young people to live fulfilling and great lives than to study music while they're still in school. And if they never study music again, at least they can go out, they can play in their community band, they can be music consumers, they can sing in their church choir. There's all kinds of great things that come from learning just a little bit of music. And I think it really enriches lives. And I thank all of you for giving these fine young people the opportunity to do that. Finally, to these fabulous young people on stage, there's about 75 of them from, I believe, 8 schools? Is that about right? They all came here this morning, and we started rehearsing at 9 a.m. We had 4 blocks of rehearsal for about an hour apiece. Some of them were about 75 minutes. But in that time, we had those rehearsals, and they worked hard. They were concentrated. They did everything that I asked them to do and then some to learn this to prepare for you tonight. And think about that. How long do you usually work on band music in your band programs? 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? We did it in a day. And that's not because of me. That's because of these fine young people on stage. So please, let's give them all one great big round of applause. I'm replaceable, they're not. Our last piece, we were going to end with the last piece that we just played because it's got a great big ending. I thought, you know, that's kind of like the end of the main show, and then I'll do all my mushy talk, and then we'll do almost like an encore with a Sousa march. So this is John Philip Sousa's Fairest to the Fair.